Welcome to Food News and Chews. Parlez-vous français?
I don't know what you just said, nor what this other guy's going to say. His name is Patrick Rogeroux. He's a French culinary professional, and he's amazing. Also, I've got a Kentucky preparation
Yummy.
for Lyons Farm NY Strips coming up on Food News and Chews.
Why do chefs choose Lyons Farm beef?
It's consistent, it's delicious, it's got great tenderness, and it's really good for you. This nutritional element of making healthy animals for healthy eating is a big component about why their beef is so delicious. I feel so lucky to be a chef in Kentucky because the best way to express care for someone is to make them something to eat, and I get to do that every single day.
Lyons Farm beef, available at Critchfield Meats and lyonsfarm.com.
From concessions to festivals, bingo halls to daycare facilities, Seaworth Superstore is Kentucky's largest dealer for all your weekend kitchen or mobile kitchen supply needs. From popcorn to snow cone machines, we have the largest selection of new and used equipment with warranties to help keep your mobile food truck or weekend event going strong. That's Seaworth Superstore for Sales Road, Lexington. That's Seaworth Superstore, putting the Kentucky workforce back to work.
Today's shoppers are informed. When shopping for the family meal, today's shopper chooses Critchfield Meats for fresh, all-natural quality meats, guaranteed. Make the right choice and visit our family before you feed yours. Critchfield Meats, the meat specialist, family owned and operated since 1969. That's a grade A choice, folks.
Welcome to Food News and Chews. And Jeremy, we have a real treat. We're here at the Alltech 29th
International Symposium. 29th, yeah.
in the market. You did a demo yesterday. But here's the fun part. We've been in language immersion school for the last 24 hours. We've learned to speak French, but just in case we can't do it, we have with us a couple of really special guests here today. And we have, and I'll apologize in advance, my French is a little rusty, high school French. Patrick Rousseau of the Rousseau Group.
Yes.
President. You're like a big
That was really good.
I know. Did I get an A? And in case we need help, Jeremy, we have Marcel.
Hello.
We have our backup plan.
We have, Marcel Cunningham-Rousseau. She's with the Equine and Sponsorship Public Relations Division of Alltech.
That's right.
Did I come pretty close?
Where Patrick is from.
And that's right. And you live there and work there.
Yes, I do.
I mean, is this awesome? I can have my bags packed and be there tomorrow.
Yeah, well, we got a great interview, so luckily we have her to translate some stuff for us because this is an amazing chef with a great story.
Oh, yeah.
And I can't wait to hear more about it.
It's going to unfold. Yeah. And I'll start out, and then I know that you really are just itching to
I've got some questions
about the food part, because Jeremy's an award-winning chef.
Just like him, and we have a few things in common, and I can't wait to find out more.
All right, that sounds good. But let's start out with this. Dr. Lyons, Dr. Pierce Lyons, discovered you for the U.S. and brought you over here with these 2,300 people from all over the world. And I want to know, how did you meet Dr. Lyons? You're both just incredibly brilliant in what you do, and just tell us a little bit about that.
J'ai rencontré le Dr. Lyons à l'occasion des Jeux équestres 2010 à Lexington. La région de Normandie nous avait demandé d'organiser des démonstrations culinaires sur le stand de la région Normandie à Lexington. Et le Dr. Lyons est venu en Normandie nous rencontrer pour savoir qui on était avant de donner son accord pour nous permettre d'organiser des sessions culinaires ici. Et on a eu une rencontre passionnante parce que c'est un homme qui, moi je suis en admiration devant lui, qui est un créatif, qui est quelqu'un de plein d'idées, et c'est vrai qu'on a eu une rencontre vraiment très sympathique. Et donc on est venu faire nos démonstrations culinaires à Lexington et on est resté en relation depuis ce temps-là.
I could listen to him all day long. And using that impeccable French that I have just acquired, just kidding. Anyway, we've been talking before, so I know a little bit about what you just said. I'm going to ask Marcel to help me if I can't get through this just right. But what I think you're telling me is that you met Dr. Lyons in 2010 in association with the Games, the Alltech sponsored equine games, and you are going to be cooking in Normandy in 2014. And when you visited with him in 2010, he just fell in love with your work because the two of you are so similar. You're both innovators. You're both extremely broad in your interests.
Yeah.
Did I pretty much get
You
that
did,
right,
you
Marcel?
did. Yeah. And it's for 2010. He met him before the games and came over. It was an incredible feeling between the two of them.
Electric, yeah.
So then he went to the games and he did cooking demonstrations during the 2010 games, and he will do this again in 2014.
I'm really scared though. There are two Pierce Lyonses running around in the world now. That's a little scary but wonderful. Okay, Jeremy, what about, I'm sure you
I
want to
want
give
to
Bill
know
right now.
from the chef, what are some of your favorite activities? What kind of things do you really like to do at home?
I am photographer. Je suis photographe culinaire. Ouais. Je suis photographe culinaire à l'origine. Donc on travaille pour toutes les sociétés agroalimentaires de France. On travaille pour les sociétés d'art de la table, tout ce qui est assiettes, porcelaine, couverts et autres. On travaille pour des éditeurs. On édite beaucoup de livres de cuisine, de recettes, et on édite nos propres livres de cuisine également.
Need some
I
help
heard
there?
photographer
I would
there.
like some.
Yeah, yeah.
He's a photographer, and he's a culinary photographer, and he works for big food companies, l'art de table, small appliances that chop and dice, and his beautiful photography promotes these and helps for marketing purposes. And he's also an editor. He creates his own books with cooking recipes and also books for other people.
Yeah.
Maybe you know us out.
That's
Yeah.
right.
Hey, there was something in there about rebels. Something about
It's consulting,
Tuck
right?
Rebels. Tell us about the rebels part.
Tuck
I like
Rebel.
rebels.
Rebels? Why Rebels?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Why you have that in your title?
Alors j'ai créé les Toc Rebelles. C'est une académie de cuisine qui est spécialisée dans le consulting culinaire. Donc on travaille avec des professionnels sur des créations de cartes de restaurants. On travaille sur des restaurants qui fonctionnent mais qui ont besoin un peu de créativité pour continuer à évoluer, ou des restaurants qui ne fonctionnent pas, qu'on aide à redémarrer. Et on travaille également pour le grand public sur des cours de cuisine, aussi bien pour les adultes que pour les enfants, sur différents thèmes. Et les Toc Rebelles, le nom des Toc Rebelles, et le côté rebelle vient du fait que ce soit dans nos images ou dans la cuisine, on essaie toujours d'apporter de la créativité, de la rébellion. Et donc voilà pourquoi le nom Toc Rebelle.
Yeah.
Well,
Marcel?
the third activity is the Tuck Rebel Consulting, but the name of the Tuck Rebel comes basically that he doesn't fit into a mold and that he is creative. He likes to go beyond the
He's our kind
boundaries.
of guy.
Yes.
And
Our kind of guy.
his consulting services, he does everything from going in to finding a concept for a restaurant, redoing the interior design, redoing the menu, training the chefs to cook the meals, and also kitchen management, and basically everything from A to Z.
That's kind of like a chef for hire situation,
I
almost like
love
the
that.
French
I
Gordon
love that.
Ramsay too.
But
You can
before
come
we
in and
get-
consult your
you're
business.
gonna. I know you're going to be asking about that and
Oh,
want
yeah.
to do that, but I want to not leave rebels too soon because we in Kentucky are rebels, and
Yeah.
that's why we say Versailles, not Versailles.
Yeah.
He took that
Versailles,
news well yesterday when I
right,
drove
yeah.
him around the bluegrass area, right?
That's right. That's right.
But anyway, you're a rebel in another way. Jeremy, reach for those books.
Yeah, I
let's
want
talk
to see
about
some of
his
this
book.
photography,
Some of
especially
the
this
humor
year.
that you have in your photography is unbelievable. And these are in your books, and let's show. We have here his book, which
And
is
there's
Top
a sense
Chef.
of humor too, because this is like a fish soup, right? But the fish are actually still alive. It looks like.
Basically, Patrick, he explained to me that he doesn't like to take life too seriously,
Sure.
and he loves to work hard, but you've got to find humor in everything he does.
Yes, lobster American.
Oh, look at this.
This
4th of
is
July.
pretty good. You can see that.
American.
There's
Wonderful
one coming
stuff.
up that's my fave. Jeremy, you're going to like it too. It is
Woo! Look at that. Whipped cream.
whipped cream. Do you love it? I mean,
Yeah,
do you
see,
love
this
it?
is fun, and that's how food should be too. Especially when it comes to this level,
And creme brulee?
because you have to kind of step outside of your box when you go and eat fine cuisine.
right.
So have fun with it, and this looks like he's done a great job with putting it in paper.
And stepping out of your box sometimes means you got to admit you need help, and that gets us back to consulting.
Yeah, really.
And I think that he's done some audits, and you might want to ask him about that as examples that he has, because there's some really neat things that a lot of, heck, we could probably even use.
Yeah, what types of audits does that actually happen? You come in and just kind of say, this is your food cost that's out of line, or how else does that work?
Comment vous faites l'audit exactement?
Pour les restaurants.
L'exemple que vous avez donné.
Ouais, donc là on vient de travailler sur un restaurant en Normandie qui ne fonctionnait pas. Donc on y va une fois, deux fois, trois fois, déjeuner, dîner, de façon anonyme. Et là, on prend les notes un peu de nous, notre vision du restaurant, ce qui fonctionne, ce qui ne fonctionne pas. Après, on rencontre le client, enfin on rencontre l'équipe. Et donc là, on remet à plat, on fait une proposition globale sur ce qui nous semble ne pas fonctionner et ce qu'il faudrait faire pour le voir fonctionner. Donc là, en l'occurrence, on a revu la décoration de l'établissement, on a revu la carte, on a revu le management, on a revu l'organisation de la cuisine qui n'était pas du tout fonctionnelle. Donc voilà, des plats qui étaient servis froids parce que la cuisine n'était pas opérationnelle. Et donc voilà, tout ça mis en place, le restaurant aujourd'hui fonctionne. Et on propose également à nos clients des audits après, une fois que le restaurant fonctionne, pour pouvoir continuer à évoluer et à perdurer. Donc on maintient des contrôles permanents dans les restaurants avec lesquels on travaille.
Okay.
Using help. Basically, he went to a client called him, his restaurant was not working. So basically, he went in unannounced, did kind of a pre-audit, saw how the restaurant worked operationally from a customer point of view. Then he came back and made recommendations, and he changed everything from the design, a total concept, changed the menu to go with the design, and then looked how he could increase efficiency in the kitchen. He changed the management, and then he did a post-audit.
Yeah, in terms of, you see these dishes, they're beautiful, they're wonderful, and I know this is a question a chef gets a lot, like, hey, what's your favorite recipe, what's your favorite thing to cook? But I gotta ask you, is there a dish that really personifies you or makes you feel comforted or at home, or what's your absolute favorite thing to eat?
Votre plat préféré en fait?
Mon plat préféré, je crois qu'on habite au bord de la mer, on est en Normandie, près de la mer, et c'est vrai que j'aime les coquilles Saint-Jacques.
Ah,
et les
I know
truffes.
that one. Coquille Saint-Jacques?
Et les truffes, ouais. Voilà. Et le mélange des deux, excellent. Truffes et coquilles Saint-Jacques.
Scallops, I think.
Yeah, that was right.
Well, you're better than me. I thought truffles was a dessert.
Well, it is. It
is too?
It isn't truffles as
see, I
a
wasn't
dessert,
as
but
bad
it's
as I
also
thought.
a mushroom. The one he's talking about
Yeah.
is a mushroom.
Yeah, and I can see how that would be a wonderful dish. Yeah, these are the most expensive truffles in
He
the
has to put
world,
up
but
with me.
shave them on a little thing. Oh man, it's beautiful.
Oh, right, that is great. Hey, I'm wondering something about this cooking school, and there's a lot of movement about children.
Oh, sure.
Involving children.
Right, and if you're at home, you have children. Do you also involve them in the kitchen? Do you teach the children, your children how to
Or
cook, or
just children in
children in general? Is that fun for you to see the young people kind of grow up and be exposed to good food and how to cook beautifully?
Sur les cours pour les enfants.
Oui, est-ce que aussi vous avez des enfants? Est-ce que vous enseignez votre enfants? Et est-ce que vous aimez enseigner les enfants en général?
Ouais, on a travaillé donc sur nos cours de cuisine, vraiment des sessions spécifiques pour les enfants, parce qu'on a envie que les enfants réapprennent à manger. On a perdu un peu le goût. C'est vrai que les enfants, alors les mères ne cuisinent pas ou peu maintenant, les générations ont un peu changé, et c'est vrai qu'on a envie de redonner aux enfants cette envie de cuisiner et cette envie de connaître les produits. Et ce qui était assez amusant, c'est qu'on a fait goûter à des enfants pendant les cours des choses qu'ils ne mangeraient jamais chez eux, quoi. On a fait goûter des choses très fortes en goût, mais sous couvert des cours de cuisine, ils goûtent, au moins ils ont cette démarche de goûter, de tester ce qu'on leur fait, ce qu'on leur sert, et c'est vrai qu'on leur fait manger des choses qu'ils ne mangeraient jamais chez eux, quoi. C'est toujours non, je ne vais pas manger ça, et dans l'école, ils mangent.
So it's very important to teach children taste and also about vegetables and different things that they eat. And through his cooking school for kids, he's been able to get kids to eat things they would never eat at home.
Yeah. I think that was the biggest thing with me growing up, and a lot of kids is they're exposed to vegetables that are probably frozen or prepared very poorly, and you don't expose to it right. When I started eating things cooked properly or with good technique, they start tasting it's like, okay, that's exactly what a roasted carrot should taste like, or a perfect mushroom. So
and we should also say that in the cooking school, when I've had discussions and conversations, he aims toward professionals and teaching them more of a way to do better.
Yeah.
So sort of teaching the one who actually will go in. Is that correct?
That's
Marcia?
right. But actually, that's part of his consulting.
Yeah.
That's part when he does the menus. Actually teaches them how to make them as well.
Yeah, the chefs and such and so on. But anyway, let's end with this question. What are your aspirations? What are you looking into doing in the immediate future to take this brand, Rousseau, to another level?
Mon rêve est d'installer une école de cuisine aux États-Unis. Pourquoi pas? C'est vraiment partie des choses, des challenges. On a toujours des challenges devant nous, on a besoin de créer, d'innover, et c'est vrai que ça fait partie des challenges qui me poussent. J'aimerais monter une école de cuisine aux États-Unis. Et pourquoi pas à Lexington?
And that's the culinary school, right?
That's right. He loves challenges. He wants to continue innovating,
Dr.
and why
Lyons
not a school in the
All
U.S.?
right. Now,
okay.
here's what I'm going to tell you. You are going to do it here because We're rebels,
Sure.
Yeah.
and you're a rebel. You go to New York, it'll be boring. Boring. Tell him what boring
Ouais,
is.
New York, c'est s'ennuyer.
Yeah,
hein,
boring.
New York. Même pas
I mean,
ici.
they've done it all.
There's nothing to do there.
We can invent
So-
it here.
Yeah.
You just got to want to be a rebel. You just got to love that. So we want you in Kentucky. All right?
C'est noté, c'est noté.
Culinary
That'd be
school.
neat,
Yes. All right.
I'll go.
But yeah, we will actually have to go to France though and do a little training.
Yeah, I think
won't
that'd
we?
be nice.
Yeah, I think we will.
We'll-
Okay.
We'll hop on the plane and head over right now.
I can't be packed before 8 o'clock tomorrow morning, but I can be there.
We can make it happen.
You've been listening to Food News and Chews, and this has been a delightful interview with a delightful person. Please come back soon to scout out locations. Jeremy and I will be your advance team.
That's right. And I can't wait to
Advance
cook for you
team.
today.
And we're going to lunch
Yes,
at
that's
Azure. So you've been listening to Food News and Chews, and we'll be back right after break. Thank you.
Worldly influenced, locally inspired. Azure Restaurant and Patio, contemporary fine dining in a relaxed atmosphere right here in Lexington. Modern award-winning dishes with a distinctive Kentucky twist from the mind of nationally recognized chef Jeremy Ashby. Voted best fine dining in Lexington. Azure is chef-created, chef-driven, and Kentucky proud since day one. Taste something unique at Azure Restaurant and Patio, Beaumont Center in Lexington. And see Chef Jeremy Ashby and Sylvia Lovely on the Food News and Chews, Sunday night at 11 on Fox 56.
From concessions to festivals, bingo halls to daycare facilities, Seaworth Superstore is Kentucky's largest dealer for all your weekend kitchen or mobile kitchen supply needs. From popcorn to snow cone machines, we have the largest selection of new and used equipment with warranties to help keep your mobile food truck or weekend event going strong. That's Seaworth Superstore for Sales Road, Lexington. That's Seaworth Superstore, putting the Kentucky workforce back to work.
Hey, Jeremy, Food News and Chews. I'm speechless because we have
What's
this
the show
great,
called?
whatever. We've got this great audience.
That's right.
And it's an international audience. We have New Zealand represented here, Germany, Austria.
It's the
and
International
Canada,
Symposium,
and
the
USA,
29th.
And blah, 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 South Dakota.
Right.
You know, that country too.
So Alltech has brought us down here to demonstrate using
In the
Lyons
world
Farm
market.
products, right?
Yeah.
It's the world market, and we've got
And so-
nationalities represented.
Yeah,
Just
and
like
so
that.
our audience knows this is Chef Jeremy Ashby, and Jeremy and I do have two roles. One, we are co-owners of Azure Restaurant and Patio, which is out a little ways toward the airport.
We're a suburban restaurant.
See, I can't even talk. And then we co-host Food News and Chews.
Right.
And so Jeremy does a cooking segment each week. We're a weekly show, and Jeremy does. And you can go to us, by the way, on foodnewsandchews.com, where you can actually view a show. Of course, they will want to do that. But you're going to cook up a dish. Tell us about
That's right,
it.
guys. Okay, so Lyons Farm beef, I'm sure you're familiar with it if you're associated with Alltech. This is a great product. I've been using it for about 3 to 4 years now. One thing that is really unparalleled about this is just the tenderness of the meat. This is the strip loin, which can typically be, usually we cut them thick and they slice kind of nice, but these actually are almost, fork tender. If you see, I'm using the back of this knife. And that's just due to Alltech's nutrition packet. The way the animal husbandry, the way they raise the animals, feed it, it's pretty amazing to see an animal this young. They're slaughtered younger than actual other beef, so there's less cholesterol, just a healthier meat. Plus, you do get a decent amount of marbling, too.
Are you saying nasty things about older people?
Well, in terms of the, I can't go there, right? So, in terms of the beef, it's incredibly tender. But you're in Kentucky, so we wanted to use Kentucky products to show you some of the things we do here. If you've walked around, you probably or have eaten here in Kentucky before, you probably found beer cheese. It's kind of our thing. We always sit around with celery and chicken wings and eat beer cheese. It's one of our things. So Kentucky beer cheese. I like to stuff steaks with it and then sear them up. So you've got like this cheese stuffed New York strip. It's ooey and gooey, a little bit spicy. It's got the beer flavor, which we'll also use another Alltech product. We use the Bourbon Barrel Ale to make beer cheese. So anyway, just a simple cheddar, which we'll mix with just mayonnaise. And I usually keep this
You're
beer
making
cheese.
beer cheese, huh?
Yeah, very, very simple. Cheddar
Nice.
and mayonnaise. I only use garlic and cayenne. Like I said, just a few ingredients, a little spice, and then lots of beer. That's what makes it kind of, gives it the creamy aspect. It makes it nice so you can pipe it into a bag like this.
Dr. Lyons will love you for this.
This is all for him.
We started drinking beer this morning in one of the sessions.
Oh, really? Well, me too.
Yeah, but you weren't in a session.
Whenever I get in front of an audience, you have to, it's good. So anyway, you see it's a little creamier, a little bit more beer will make it spreadable. And what I mean by spreadable is you want to be able to take this, and it's loose enough to put into a pastry bag. You can buy these disposable in the grocery store. People ice cakes with it. I like to stuff things with cheese with it. So put your cheese in a pastry bag like this.
And then, that is that, right?
Yeah, it is. But I get really clumsy with this and make a mess, so I wanted to go ahead and pre-stuff it because I'd have cheese everywhere.
Cheese, mayo,
garlic and cayenne and beer, lots of beer.
Lots of beer.
So this is New York
strip
loin.
On that one, will they?
You want to cut them kind of thick, that way you can kind of get into it. This is called butterflying. You take your boning knife, a very thin knife that has kind of an angle to it. Most people have it in their kits if you buy a 7-piece set or something. You want to go in, not this side where the sinew and the fat cap is, but the underside. And just go right in the middle, in between, right in the middle here. And like I said, I'm not going to slice this way and this way. I'm going to use the boning knife to go through the center. See how the opening is not
away, right?
Yeah, sharp part away. The opening is not getting any larger, but you're kind of creating a pocket inside of the steak.
That is so tender.
Yeah, it's very tender.
Which is excellent beef.
It is great.
And again, a tribute to Alltech.
So you've got this big pocket. It extends the entire way, just big enough for the cheese. So we'll take that and just kind of squeeze it in there on all sides. You see it's kind of filling up. Mm-hmm. Looks pretty good. So there's that. We'll do the other one. Simple butterfly technique, little hole. Slice it all the way through this way.
I let Jeremy do the cooking, by the way. I could slice a finger off easily.
Now the best way to keep this sealed, I like to use country ham, prosciutto, bacon, whatever you like. You're larding the outside. That'll add extra fat. Also seal up that hole so the cheese doesn't ooze out. So just lay out some prosciutto, in a length. Not only does it, add pork to the dish, which is great in itself, but really fun. And I like this because this is a dish you guys can do at home. And, you do chicken, you can do beef, you can do pork.
With the holidays and grilling coming up, can you grill that?
You can grill it. As long as you go high heat, I think you're going to be fine because you really want to get this crispy on the outside, sear on that ham, make sure it doesn't fall out. And also, the point is you don't want to go for a long cooking period because the cheese will start to really melt. And as all that stuff starts moving around inside, gets hot, it will kind of squirt out. So
all right.
We'll let this skillet get very, very hot. You don't want to make too much smoke in here. So we'll just lightly brown it.
We don't want to negate a fire trucks, right?
Right.
Okay.
And
so
the whole idea with searing is you want high heat, minimal fat. That way you get a very, very dark crust on the outside of the meat, sealing all the juices, especially the ham part.
What kind of oil is this?
Well, this is just kind of a run-of-the-mill oil we use for sauteing at the restaurant, probably 10% olive, the other part vegetable. So it doesn't really have a high smoking point or anything like that. It's nothing special. I typically, when I'm doing high heat cooking, I don't waste a good olive oil in that. It just oxidizes quickly and it's just a waste of really good stuff. This is roasted garlic salt to season the outside. Very, very coarse. You don't need much because the ham is already very salty. So just lightly dust the outside. And typically I'll finish the steak with this as well. As in when it comes out, we let it rest, we slice it, then sprinkle a little bit more of the roasted garlic salt on top. So that should be good enough to brown. Yep, we got a little bit of heat here. We'll go ahead and kick this up to high.
How much cooking on each side?
Well, that's the
depends on
that's the tricky part. Because you really, if you want to at home, you can crank your oven up to 450, and you can just kind of sear the outsides and throw the skillet and all right in the oven, and it'll bake it. You'll have heat coming from the radiant outside, also the heat from the pan. In a situation like this, I'm just going to skillet cook them. So I'd say probably 4 minutes on each side. And just because I can tell that the heat off of the stove isn't going to be that big. But, I'd say if you notice when we made that incision, we cut the steak almost in half again. So you've only got this much meat to cook on each side. So once you brown it on both sides, you're probably already at about a medium rare. Let it rest, it might even go up to medium. But not much more past that because you don't want to overcook the steak and you don't want that cheese to just goosh out. So.
Yeah.
What do you think? Is that done enough for you?
Man, those look good. Those look good and smell good.
They do smell good. You guys want to try the beef, the steak?
Yeah.
Good?
So we've got little plates and stuff.
I'm going to give this to you. This one right there.
Okay, here we go.
We'll do our show presentation, and then we'll kind of slice this thing up and let you guys have at it.
Yeah.
So, you know, due to the magic of TV, we got to rush this, but I would typically take the steak out and just kind of let it sit on the cutting board. Oh, see the cheese is coming out?
Yeah.
And we let it rest. I think we've talked about that before, right? So all the juices stop spinning so fast.
Out on the edges. Doesn't that look delicious?
And that way the meat stays, or the juices stay inside. Hope we won't catch anything on fire down there. But we'll kind of rush this just for the sake. So I'll start with this side. We'll slice it thin. And it's like a nice rare to medium rare.
It's good.
On the inside, you're going to start seeing the nice cheese in the middle.
Do we have like a fork or something to?
We do have forks right there.
Oh yeah, like a basket of them.
So won't
if
be
it had been a snake, it would have bit me, right?
quite as beautiful if you slice it up into little pieces, but I promise I'll put a little bit of cheese on for everybody.
All right.
Now this one, if you wanted a nice presentation at home, I like to just kind of slice this right in the center on a bias and you know, plate it up real fancy for home.
Oh, how pretty.
It is. This is just
What's that?
That's like a grit tower.
A grit
So yeah,
tower.
you're in Kentucky, so you got to do, you know,
Grit
beer
tower.
cheese, and we got grits and this tomato stuff with lobster and shrimp. You know, a little asparagus. So that's not a bad looking dish to do at home, right? And this here we'll just cut up for you guys to sample, and I'll cut that one up too, but we wanted to make sure we got a nice little display presentation for that.
All right.
So, Sylvia, you want to help me pass these
Yeah,
out?
we'll pass it out. And you've been watching Food News and Chews, and we got an audience here getting ready to feed our faces, right? Gang, what do you say? Yay, Chef Jeremy. By the way, your prom date is here.
All right. How you doing, Heather?
We'll hear the story later, but not for TV. Okay, we'll be back next week.
Yes.